From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Up to $1 billion has been authorized for a border barrier in Yuma. We have the reactions from those who live and work on the border.
Plus, we hear from Arizona representatives as the Western Caucus Committee speaks out against the Green New Deal bill. We are live in Washington with the latest.
And a new treatment for PTSD may help patients reprocess distressing memories. We break down how the psychological therapy works to neutralize feelings that come with past struggles.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Bayan Wang.
And I'm Haley Brandt. Thank you for joining us. The Department of Defense told Congress late yesterday it's green-lighted the transfer of $1 billion to start new barrier construction on the U.S.-Mexico border in 2 locations, including Yuma. Cronkite News reporter John Cardinelli was in Yuma today to get reaction.
The Department of Defense has given a green light to allocate $1 billion towards 56 miles of new border wall here in Yuma County, as well as El Paso, Texas. The money will not only go towards a new border wall, but will also go towards helping fixing roads, as well as establishing lights in drug corridors to help monitor those areas. We spoke with local Yuma residents on their opinion of the construction that may be happening in their community soon.
I believe that even if they build a wall or new streets, to keep illegal immigrants out, they're going to find a way. Either way, they're going to find a way regardless. They're going to get in here. I feel like I think it's wasting money, honestly.
I'm not really sure if the wall is the right answer overall. I just know that something should be done to try to, something should be done to try to make things easier for people to get in, but at the same time do something to curb the illegal immigration and the other problems that are going on right now.
House Armed Services Committee Chairman Adam Smith says he will not reappropriate funds towards the new project, so it is unclear if and when the project will take place. In Yuma, John Cardinelli, Cronkite News.
Cronkite News caught up with Republican Congressman Paul Gosar in Washington today. He says he supports building the wall and believes more money could be found if needed.
The military is anteed up for $1 billion in that aspect, and so, once again, as the commander-in-chief, I applaud them. We're looking for money that could actually go to the wall, and let's get it done. When you start looking at over $700 billion in the military, there's definitely $1 billion, at least probably $10 billion. I probably can point to $13 billion right off the top of my head that could be reassociated and not deter one bit of the military and actually make it function better.
Gosar voted against overriding President Trump's veto to rescind the emergency declaration at the border. It failed to get a 2/3 vote today in the House.
It's called the Green New Deal, a sweeping package of environmental proposals being pushed by some Democrats on Capitol Hill. But Gosar and a group of other Western Republican lawmakers today said the Green New Deal would be a bad deal. Alyssa Klink was there for their back and forth this morning and has the story live from the Washington Bureau.
Today's debate over the Green New Deal came as the Senate was holding its first test vote on the bill, an ambitious mix of clean energy, healthcare, and wage provisions, a package that critics are saying is too ambitious. Members of the Western Caucus are calling it the Green Pipe Dream, and a dream that will have unforeseen consequences.
I'm going to take a drink of this great, nice, cold glass of milk. That's delicious. That's refreshing. Got milk? Maybe not under the Green New Deal.
The House bill is sponsored by New York freshman Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, already a favorite target to House conservatives. They say her Green New Deal will do more harm to the economy than good to the environment, with its goal of 100% renewable energy by 2030.
We've seen it in neighboring states when they go into what the Green New Deal elicits. You see our utility rates go 3 times higher. That's a minimum that we've actually seen.
Arizona Democratic Representative Ruben Gallego said the goals of the bill are worth pursuing, even if they won't be easy. But he thinks it can be done.
I like the idea. To be clear, I think that this is a, existential problem to our world, not just our nation. In reality, it's very popular. I think the concept's very popular. The sticking point is going to be how we get to it, but I think we could find a way to do it.
Gallego said he wants to see the details before signing on to the bill, but it already has 91 co-sponsors in the House, including Tucson Democrat Raul Grijalva. But Gosar says the nation is already doing a lot of what's in the bill, which he says will end up costing jobs in farming, energy, and more.
We've already started. Number one is looking at all the above resources for energy. If you have energy, you can actually have a business. You can actually aspire to having new entrepreneurial and new ideas.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell rushed to vote on the Senate version of the Green New Deal today in an effort to pin the issue to Democrats. But the bill stalled when 43 senators, mostly Democrats, voted present. Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema was one of only 3 Democrats to vote no today. In Washington, Alyssa Klink, Cronkite News.
Arizona's 2020 election to fill the late Senator John McCain's term is expected to be one of the nation's top Senate races. New announcements from Senator Martha McSally and Congressman Ruben Gallego give us a clearer look at the race. McSally was appointed to the seat after Senator John Kyle stepped down in December. McSally's biggest competitor will be Democrat Mark Kelly, who jumped into the race last month. Congressman Ruben Gallego recently announced he will not be seeking the Senate seat, leaving Mark Kelly as the Democrats' top nominee. Gallego told the Arizona Republic yesterday it would be better for the state and the Democratic Party for him not to engage in a bitter primary battle.
More than 7 million Americans struggle with post-traumatic stress disorder. One unique treatment is called EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing.
Cronkite News reporter Bryce Newberry joins us live with a look at how this treatment is helping people.
This is one example of EMDR. It's a treatment that's being used by therapists all over the country. Researchers have found the therapy is quicker and more effective than trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy. And it all comes down to the human eye.
We do have major breaking news.
That's the voice of Daniel Clark.
This is very, very tragic.
This is the day he'll never forget.
4 of my friends were killed, and I haven't been here since 2008.
Here is where 2 news helicopters crashed back in 2007 after following a car chase. This scene, combined with all the other tragic ones he's seen in 20 years as a TV news photographer, eventually became too much to handle.
Most people sit there and go, you know, here's a good restaurant over here, here's a good place to get a massage, or, you know, a great place to get discounts on clothes or whatever. And I'm driving around going death, 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 home invasion, house fire, quadruple shooting, and I can't drive around town.
He stopped working in November after someone pointed out what he already knew.
I've been dealing with PTSD for 10 years, and I see it in your eyes, and you have it. And I was done.
Clark decided to pursue EMDR therapy, a type of treatment for PTSD that stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. It helps people process traumatic events in their brains to neutralize the feelings that come with past struggles. Laura Fontaine practices EMDR at her Mesa office.
Sometimes we have symptoms or behaviors that crop up in the present that are related to triggers, and the triggers come from things that happened to us in our past.
The therapy starts with grounding techniques to help prepare a patient for the processing phase.
I have people run it through their brain like a movie and pause it at that moment that feels the worst. And what's that freeze frame image? That gets your brain really into the meat of that memory.
And then the reprocessing starts.
We start moving the fingers, or we can tap. Some people will have light bars. There are, some people call them tappers or buzzies that you can hold, and it all provides dual attention stimulus.
The EMDR International Association says the therapy is similar to what occurs naturally during dreaming or REM sleep, and can be thought of as a physiologically based therapy that helps a person see disturbing material in a new and less distressing way. For Clark, finding a therapist who actually believed he had PTSD was the first hurdle to getting started.
As soon as I said I'm not in the service or anything like that, it was instant disconnect. Like they shut down, they're like, and they had that look like, what do you know about PTSD?
It was the first step to saving himself and his marriage.
She told me, she goes, "I'm glad I don't have to ask you how your day was." And the reason why was because everything was death and destruction.
Daniel's wife always asked how his day was until he stopped working last year.
When the person that you love, that cares about you, and is being very supportive through all of this, it's also going, I don't want to know how your day is anymore. Your relationship's going to be done.
Clark hopes that sharing his story will encourage people, especially in newsrooms, to open up and be comfortable talking about their own struggles. He actually went back to work yesterday. He's working a little bit less and on some lighter stories while he undergoes the treatment, and there's really no estimate as to how long it lasts for each individual patient.
Thank you, Bryce. Well, coming up next on Cronkite News.
Bad news for a bill looking to impose new rules on Arizona charter schools. Why some lawmakers are saying the bill gives a false impression. And it's public school week. See how advocates want you to get involved to help teachers and students.
I'm Judy Woodruff, anchor and managing editor of the PBS NewsHour. The journalists of tomorrow face a fast-changing media landscape, but quality news remains vitally important to our communities, our country, and our world. At ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, students learn solid, reliable reporting, holding the powerful accountable, and rebuilding the public's trust. The Cronkite School and Arizona PBS, preparing the next generation for a stronger future of journalism.
With wildfires, a scarcity of water, and other environmental issues facing the Earth today, it's critical to stay up to date with local impacts of a changing climate. That's why we created Elemental, covering sustainability, a multimedia collaboration between public television and radio stations. From climate change to water conservation to renewable energy and much more, Elemental covers the latest in sustainability news. Find our stories on our website, elementalreports.com.
ASU received a $50 million donation for dementia research. Charlene and Jay Orrin Edson made the largest endowment the public school has ever received. The money will go to the Biodesign Institute and the College of Nursing and Health Innovation. It will fund dementia research as well as education and training for nurses and caregivers. The president of ASU, Michael Crow, tweeted the money, quote, will elevate ASU as a leader in dementia research and demonstrate how investment in their common good generates meaningful outcomes.
A bill imposing new rules on Arizona charter schools appears to be dead. Republican House Speaker Rusty Bowers said yesterday the legislation doesn't have enough votes because Republicans feel it goes too far and Democrats say it's not strong enough. News reports about charter operators enriching themselves, falling short academically, or failing financially prompted the legislation. Democrats say the bill was written by the charter industry and gives the false impression that lawmakers are resolving problems with charter schools. Some Republicans say charters are not intended to be governed with the strict regulations public schools face. Republican Senator Kate Brophy McGee proposed the bill. It would have required disclosure of contracts benefiting charter school board members and allowed the Attorney General to investigate questionable purchasing decisions.
After that bill was shot down at the Capitol, there's an effort to recognize public schools and their teachers. It's Public Schools Week, and advocates are celebrating staff as well as making sure funding efforts aren't forgotten. Cronkite News reporter Tavia Madison joins us with the story.
In Arizona, more than 1 million students attend public schools, according to the Department of Education. And while efforts like Red for Ed have helped raise public awareness, local advocates say Arizona's public education system needs help.
Education is a top priority for so many people. Let's really celebrate it this year.
It's Public Schools Week in Arizona, and to celebrate public education, members of Save Our Schools Arizona are getting active.
We wanted to put a spotlight on public schools, celebrate them, but also encourage people to keep advocating for them.
One way members are advocating is through social media, using the hashtag #PublicSchoolProud and posting photos in red to spread awareness for their cause.
We know that we have some of the lowest paid teachers. We know we have some of the most underfunded classrooms. And so We wanted to show that even with all these challenges, our teachers are working miracles.
And these teachers say they are happy to be recognized.
I think raising the awareness for everyone, not just people that are currently in the system, is amazing, because I think it's when you're not looking at it, it's not there. And I think we need to continue to be there because we are there for everyone's kids.
There are activities planned each day through Friday the 29th, and advocates say they hope everyone will get involved.
Our public schools still matter to every single one of us, and so it's important to actually take a week out of the whole year and recognize that.
In efforts to spread awareness, Save Our Schools will also celebrate Public Schools Week by reaching out to legislators and asking them to prioritize public schools. In the Broadcast Center, Tavia Madison, Cronkite News.
This week, Arizona's lawmakers voted on whether to make our state drink lemonade.
But some people aren't amused with this use of the legislature's time. We break down some of the concerns of the bill after the break.
Stay in the know on the go. At Cronkite News, we work hard to report the facts and keep you updated, whether we're on set or on the scene.
Taking it from the studio to the field. So I'm here in South Phoenix.
In Phoenix, we're just a click away. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, or find us online at cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Here at Cronkite News, we have producers who craft shows that make an impact on our community. Our broadcasts allow students to be involved in all levels of production, from producing to directing. We are guided by highly respected professionals who mentor the journalists of tomorrow. From technical directing to teleprompting and beyond, our production crew works tirelessly to produce meaningful and award-winning shows. We are Cronkite News on Arizona PBS.
If you're looking for one show that tells you what happened that day in the world of business, it's NBR.
We saw a classic shipwreck.
Nordstrom's opening stores.
Triple-digit gains.
Crude climbs.
We're there to help our audience find new investment ideas.
The market still has room to go up.
Nightly Business Report is the longest-running business television program in history.
Weeknights at 10:30 on Arizona PBS.
One Arizona teen heads to the Capitol, trying to get lawmakers to make lemonade the state beverage.
Cronkite News reporter Ariel Salk has the squeeze.
We work hard down here, and sometimes we need a little humor.
The Senate Government Committee voted this week whether lemonade should be Arizona's official beverage. The idea came from high school student Garrett Glover.
Found that Arizona did not have a state drink, and I felt that we should have a state drink.
Senators had some fun with the bill. 4 presented amendments to change the drink to margarita, sun tea, Jamaica, or pink lemonade. In the end, lemonade won out, with only one senator sour on the proposal.
Pretty poor lemon sales in Arizona compared to a lot of other states. And didn't really like the 5 C's kind of tie.
But Glover did not let that spoil his victory.
It was upsetting to see just the one no vote, but I understand his reasonings for voting no. But I'm very glad that everyone else voted yes, and I'm very happy to see it continue forward to the next step.
Some may say that there are more pressing legislation than the official state drink, but the bill's sponsor defends his choice.
What's important to some people is not important to others, and so I was very happy in this case to help a young constituent with his idea.
Not everyone was amused. Some people on Twitter questioned the priorities of the legislature. One Twitter user commented, "I'm disappointed that this is what you're spending time legislating." When polled, I'm guessing exactly 0 AZ voters listed lemonade as one of the top 10 priorities or issues. Another said, "Glad to see our tax dollars hard at work." In Phoenix, Ariel Salk, Cronkite News.
The lemonade bill passed in the House and now moves on to the full Senate. If approved, it would go to the government before becoming law.
But we all may want to pour ourselves a glass of lemonade today. Rumor has it this could have been the day that we reached that 90-degree mark for the first time all year long.
Yeah, so Lauren, today how hot did it actually get, and can we expect any sort of cooler weather soon?
Well, I was hoping it would get to 90. We didn't quite get there yet, but don't worry, that is right around the corner. Triple-digit temperatures are unfortunately right around the corner as well. But today, again, we didn't quite get there. We're seeing mid to upper 80s for today, but it wouldn't have been surprising for us to hit that 90 today as we take a little trip down memory lane. Last year, we hit it on March 31st. The year before that, a little early, March 13th, but on average, we hit it on March 28th. And we are right on track to do so. And as we get these warmer temperatures in the highs, we're also retaining this heat as we head into our evenings, only dropping into the mid 70s by 10 p.m. and then only 60s for your low tonight. And we're sticking with 80s here in the valley for your high tomorrow. We're seeing 61 up in the Grand Canyon, 73 up north in Page, and 86 down south in Tucson. We had high pressure move in, and this is the reason we're going to cling on to these 80s heading into your weekend. Hey, it's nothing but sunshine, and then we're seeing lows in the upper 50s, and then this is where we could potentially finally creep into the 90s the start of your next work week, taking a look at Monday, Tuesday, but otherwise we're seeing nothing but sunshine and beautiful temperatures for your next week. For Cronkite Weather, I'm Lauren Sheeler.
And coming up next on Cronkite News.
They went for the gold almost 70 years ago. Now these local Olympic athletes are speaking out about how they were victims of discrimination and using their experiences to help others.
Cronkite News, weeknights at 5 on Arizona PBS.
I'm Jose Cardenas, host of Horizonte. Each week, we bring you experts and community leaders to discuss the issues that are vital to our community here in Arizona. We cover the stories that affect and inspire us and our families, and talk to the newsmakers who shape the communities where we live. Horizonte is your source and your voice for what matters most here on Arizona PBS.
Horizon does a good job of explaining the many topics. Ted Simons is, I think, a very good interviewer of having experts coming on his show and asking them questions and getting from them the various viewpoints.
For more information about including Arizona PBS in your future plans, visit azpbs.org/giving.
Millions of people die every year from drinking dirty water. I would never have felt I had the ability to do something without ASU pushing me. We built filtration systems out of local materials with the people. To see those kids drink clean water for the first time, it's the most rewarding feeling that you can ever have. I went to ASU because I wanted to change the world. The thing I never would have expected is how the world would have changed me.
Despite their athletic achievements, 2 Olympic athletes say they were subjected to racism and discrimination once they returned to the United States after medaling in the Games back in the 1940s.
Cronkite News reporter Walter Panade spoke to these 2 living legends about the work they're doing now, hoping to teach others through their life experiences.
When you talk to a normal athlete and they've won a medal, you feel proud about that the rest of your life.
And what a life Herb Douglas has lived. He wears his 96 years of age well, still active and with a big personality. Takeaways, he says, from his athletic career, culminating in an Olympic medal for long jump during the 1948 Olympics in London.
And I won a bronze, and I revere my bronze just as much as anyone.
Douglas, along with Harrison Dillard, are the two oldest African-American Olympians still alive. Dillard won 2 gold medals that same year in London.
And when you see your name up there and your result, and they play your country's national anthem, it's another unforgettable feeling.
Which is why Douglas and Dillard now share their experiences as Black elite athletes at a time when racism and discrimination were still very much out in the open. Despite the fact that these men were representing their country, they were still treated like any other person when they came home. But that didn't stop Dillard from loving his country.
Our country can meet all the crises that exist today and solve the problems.
Although segregation was a challenge in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, Douglas says his father gave him life advice that's helped him get through even the toughest of times.
Analyze, organize, initiate, and follow through.
Both Douglas and Dillard say their hope with sharing what they went through is to show the younger generations the importance of persevering, no matter the challenges they may face.
If you have an idea of what you want to do, where you want to go, and you've prepared for it, and it comes true, then you're blessed.
In Phoenix, Walter Benate reporting for Cronkite News.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on the PBS NewsHour.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next NewsHour, the Supreme Court hears 2 cases on how politics shapes election maps. That's Tuesday on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.